Hey, I am Per Moneeo.
Hi, I'm Irene Moneeo.
And we just bought a Soundtracs JADE, a 30-year-old vintage analog mixing console that really needs some love and fixing.
Taken care of. Yeah. If you find this interesting, you can like and subscribe to this channel.
In the previous video, we put in the channel strips into the console and finally it's here. And it's so great to see what it actually looks like now when it's in its position in our studio. And we have also started to patch in a couple of things. As you can see, we have the monitors in place. We have started to checking out the patch bay as well. And one of the first things that we did was to build this shelf for the meter bridge, where you obviously want to put your monitors.
And maybe a screen.
Yeah. We have hooked up the racks, as you can see here, and we hooked up the computer and the keyboard. And the reason for that is that we're trying to find a layout for the studio, because we're mainly switching between, I believe, songwriting mode and mixing mode. So we have to find a good way to make this a good layout. And for now, we have the main computer here and the mixing screen over there. And that one is visible even from the mixing position. And on the other side, when moving from mixing position at the console, we also just have to reach to the left to get the hands on the outboards that we have.
So there's a lot more than just dust on this console. So we have to check a lot of things.
Yeah, we have some work to do. And today we are going to have a look at what condition it's in.
So let's take a look at that now.
Okay, so the general condition of the console is actually really good. There's no big issues with the console, as we know. And since we know the previous owner, it felt like a pretty safe buy to do. I mean, buying a 30-year-old console is always a risk, but this feels pretty risk-free. As long as the basic structure is working as it should, we are happy. And if we start having a look at what it looks on the outside, we can see that there are really some wear and tear and maybe not the most pretty ones.
And here we can see in the sticky parts here that some tape have been put on this, different of these strips here.
And the previous owner told us that the tape was there to mark that there was something wrong at the channel, or that the channel actually was good. And since he didn't remember which, the tape didn't make any sense, so we just ripped them away. We're going to check the desk anyway, and we're going to see whether there will be any problem. Here we have the small fader. There are more like I have collected some dust. Large faders are used a lot more than the small faders that are mainly used for tape returns, for extra inputs when mixing down. So each channel is actually two channels. We have the large fader here and we have the small fader here. And they can work together in mixdown mode. Yeah, and I really like the condition that I see here. This is exactly what I expected. It has been used, but is in really good condition. And I believe when we start working on channels, restore it to where it once had been, we will get rid of the dirt and grit that is on there. And this plate here is obviously not the original one, and we have no idea why it has been changed. And we're thinking about maybe we should paint it to get it look a little bit more like the rest of the console, or we should just keep it like it is. And as we can see, some of the channels are really dirty. But I mean, it's a 30-year-old console and it hasn't been used for the last 2 years. So it's not that strange that it's not in mint condition. Otherwise, when looking at the big faders, everybody feels smooth and like it would be working great. And we'll see if that's the case when we try them out. And we have 32 of the large faders, since it's a 32 channel inline console. And inline console means that each channel have 2 functions. It's the input and it's the return, which can be used simultaneously during mixdown. And with 32 input channels and 4 stereo returns, we have a total of 72 inputs if we want. That will be much more than I will ever be needing. One thing that usually gets a lot of wear and tear is these armrests, but on this one it's really good condition. It's just one small gap there, and otherwise it's in really good condition. And that's pretty rare for a console at this age.
So on this corner here, you can see that some paint are missing, a whole lot in fact, and it's on each corner that is the worst, I think.
And actually this is just a proof of that this console has been sitting in a control room. And this is where people standing, the sound engineer in the middle and the band hanging on the console on the sides. So this is a sign of actually work. There are also some scratches on the sides, and we haven't decided if we should try to find some paint that looks like the original, which I think could be really difficult because it has kind of a surface that is pretty unique. So maybe we just clean it and leave it in its original shape. We're not sure yet. I mean, we're not trying to make this look as a brand new console, but we would like to give it some love and make it in better condition than it's at the moment. But to be honest, we would have no problem working with the console as it is today either. What's really important is that all the 100mm faders are working perfectly and it's not bent, or there's no problem at all with them. And that is something that you really would like to change. And of course there are a couple of things missing on these consoles.
Here we can see that some knobs are missing.
But the missing knobs have been taken from this last channel strip, which is the effects return.
And some knobs are not in that good condition either. And the fader here missing a piece too, also here. So these knobs that were here have been placed in other strips where they been needed more than just here. So that's why they are missing. And here we have some knob that needs to be replaced as well. Here is missing too. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's possible to get similar knobs or if we have to replace them with something different. We don't know yet.
And this is to lift up the patch bay to see if you want to make some changes in this patch bay.
As you can see, there are lots of unused slots, which you are able to, I think, expand if you find the patch bay that goes underneath. And this patch bay is actually one good reason for us to buy this console, because we really need a patch bay. And in the top you have the patch bay for the inputs, outputs on the console, each channel over here. And moving down you have the auxiliaries and track returns and monitors and stuff like that. But we also have timelines, which is your own effects and inputs for synthesizers, effects, microphones, and this will be really useful for us. So just this patch bay alone is worth this console for us in our studio. We're so grateful for this one. And as you can see here, the original shape of the console is really streamlined, and I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, it's a design, but it makes it impossible to place a monitor on top of the console without making a shelf like this. Here we have the consoles for the shelf, and they're following the streamline of the console, and also have support to the back of the console, and it goes between all of these ventilations. And this is a really good solution that I'm really happy with, and I'm glad that I took the time and built it. Here we have it. Between the console and this oak there's some foam, probably difficult to see, but yeah, foam protecting the console. So here we have the monitors on top of the Jade, and there's more room in the middle if we would like to place a monitor screen, which we might do in the future. We'll see. And right behind the console here we are having some molten fabric that is used on stage, which absorbs a little bit of the sound from the power supply, which is behind, and the supply sounds a lot. I was very lucky because the seller offered me to also get these soundproof cabinet that actually holds the power supply. And this cabinet was kind of a nightmare mounting because there's no instructions, and it's really special. And it's made by a Swedish company called, I don't know if you see it here, Vexers. And this cabinet was previously used in the Swedish national television. And that's a good sign of sound equipment, because national Swedish television don't pick anything at all. They pick the good stuff. Okay, so if we open this, we start to hear the fans. Yep. This is the fan of the power supply. There we have it. It's good to actually be able to see so that all fuses are working for each of the voltage. And in the bottom of the soundproof cabinet, there's this button controlling a fan sucking in air going up to the power supply unit. And if we look a bit higher up, there is actually one more fan here. There is a rack mounted fan that's sucking the air up and out through the hole. I don't know if you can hear how loud this power supply is. I mean, this is a heavy duty one. We'll close it. Much better. I mean, it's not totally quiet. I would prefer to have this soundproof cabinet in a separate machine room, of course. But for now, we have it here, sitting behind this molten fabric. I think that's how we have to start anyway. One thing I really like with this console is that it has these EDAC connectors, So there are multi-cables going from the desk to the racks or wherever you need it. And it's, in my opinion, it's so much better than have the back full of XLR connectors that also need its own multi-cables, at least. And here we have some. These connectors are for the computer. So you might think that this is the power supply to the console, but actually not. This is the computer for the automation of the console, and that is so fancy. But this computer has not been connected in 10 years, so there's actually no one knows if this works or not. And I would guess that it's not work, because it's pretty common that the automation don't work at the Jades nowadays. It has its own floppy disk right here, so everything seems ready to go. So at some point we are going to hook it up and try it out, but I don't think it will work. We'll see. We'll need to get a couple of special cables for this one. Just connecting a screen is a SCART connector, and I'm so happy Irene still kept this old TV. So maybe we could hook up the TV to the computer and find a keyboard which is on a DIN contact. I don't know where to get a keyboard with DIN contact. And there are a bunch of connectors for ribbon cables between the console and the computer. And here we have the back panel of the computer, which has DIN connectors for the keyboard, mouse and keyboard. We have some standard MIDI connectors. This video I'm not sure what it's about, because we have also this SCART video for the monitor screen. And here we have the SMPTE timecode outlets. Oh yeah, that was quite some time ago we used SMPTE. It would be fun to hook up a reel-to-reel and do it again. And here we have the connectors for the automation. So if we will try it out, we need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these cables. I have no idea what kind of connector it is, but it looks like the same flat connectors that's inside the console actually. Shouldn't be too difficult to find. Yeah, maybe we'll try it out someday. So this will not be one of the first things we try. This will come later. This was our third video with our adventure with the Soundtracs JADE console that is 30 years old. And there will be more videos, and in the next video we will be checking out what it sounds like. We are going to run audio through every channel and check out which functions is working and what is not working, and take notes, making analyze. We're going to analyze the sound, check out the EQs, check out the pre's, check out the faders, and see what is working and what is not working. Because there will be stuff that's not working at this one. That's what we think is a fun day at work. So please check it out. So if you like these kind of videos,
like and subscribe.
and we'll see you in the next video. Ciao.
Bye.